God's blessings. No, they keep coming to me. I can't stop God's blessings. No, I just can't stop. I just can't stop. No, just can't stop. Just can't stop. No, 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 I can't stop God's blessings. No, no, they keep coming to me. I can't stop God's blessings.
Boys on how they appear and how they appear to other races. Because right now, what we're seeing on our TV screens every night, we're seeing black youth gone crazy and demon mode. And this is how other races see us, and this is why they're afraid of us. Even the people, even the good white people that do like us are afraid of us because of what they see these gang kids doing. And they put all of us in that category. So what is the solution? Teach our young people how to behave in these teen trends, and teach them to think for themselves, not being led by some other unruly kid who's going to lead them into jail and end up in a situation kind of like Carmelo. But I can't blame Carmelo for defending himself. And I will stand on that he should be free, because he should be free. He wasn't messing with that white boy. That white boy was messing with him. It
Oh,
was four of them.
goodness.
What would you do with four big kids that's football age and is coming to attack you? And these this white
And he's the
this
only one that
system is
got locked up.
controlled by white people, and they don't want to show their kids doing wrong. They want to paint this lily white picture that their kids are innocent, but their kids are worse than black kids. And if you're gonna lock up the black kids, lock up the white kids too for what they
Okay,
be
so
doing.
so you're speaking a lot of race issues. I
I'm
hear
saying
you.
it is about a race
I
issue.
know, I
It
know
is
that.
it
I
it, it
see.
is
I have
about
a
race.
problem with that because I have mixed children, grandchildren, and
I
so when
understand.
I hear people constantly those racist white people, those black, I have white people of all races in my life. They ain't all racist. Then I don't
I'm
hate
not
any
saying
of
that
them.
they
Well,
all are racist.
you're sounding
Yeah, but
very
I'm
angry
saying
at
that this
white people.
system, this
It's not. No,
system,
you're not talking about a system right now. You're
yes, I
talking
am. I'm
about
talking about a judicial system
no,
that throws black kids
you're
in
talking about
jail for
the
defending
behavior.
themselves.
Okay,
You've been talking
okay,
about
okay. Let's
let
talk
me
one at a time.
let me
Let's talk
finish.
one at a time.
Let me respond to what you just said, Marcus. You're talking about the behavior of two human beings who you want to identify as a racist white and an innocent victim black person. We don't know what happened yet. There are rumors about four people attacked him, this and that. But if you've been brought up in the church and the Bible, the Creator says, "Vengeance is mine; I will repay." And people attract what they need. Carmelo attracted those boys
He
just
was,
as anybody else. You
oh my
cannot just
God.
say he was this innocent victim
No,
and he didn't have
no,
anything to do with the drama that outplayed in his life.
he
That's
was
not
there at a
spiritual.
track meet.
That's
He was there
not
at a track
spiritual,
meet.
Marcus. Marcus, we live
No,
in a
listen to me.
reality
He
where
was at a track meet.
you're not
I
you're not
worked for the
But
observing.
Viata, I would like to know. Marcus is saying he was at a track meet.
track meet
I
minding
don't.
his
I
business.
no. Hold on, Marcus. I don't know the details,
I know.
but as I shared with you, and what you're saying also, Viata, you're saying, well, now there's more information coming. So you were basing your judgment on the outcome. But you're saying, and you said earlier, now there's more information that's coming out. Marcus is aware, and I think Marcus is saying that we're in a system of unfairness.
Yep.
And just like the young fellow that I forgot what riot it was or what was going on, but just like the young white fellow that came with a shotgun and
That was
shot
George
people,
Floyd.
and he shot people, and so the system then sees him as a young white that doesn't need to suffer the
Thank you.
consequences of his action. But the system, when it comes to Black people, that system is unfair. So,
Mm-hmm.
not that, listen, I have such a rainbow family. I have such a rainbow family. So I think Marcus is expressing his sentiments about the system that is
System.
unfair, that did things and hid things to make sure that this black boy was guilty. And so when we're talking about systems that's unfair from 1865 to now, it has been unfair. Like it was unfair not to tell those black folks that they were free. They had to continue to suffer for years, for a few years, when they couldn't even get reparations for their suffering. So we are still in a systemic way of life that is unfair. Just like they were talking about DEI, and here that was created for the unfairness of employment. And now
Mm-hmm.
the first people to go was over 300, I don't know, 300, 400,000 black women that lost their jobs because they were black. And so we are not getting any better in this system. And so it has nothing to do with being angry at the system that's controlled by white people.
Okay, Lavette.
So
Okay,
it's
I
not
hear you.
personal.
I
It's
hear
not
you, Lavette.
personal.
I hear
It's
you,
not
Lavette.
personal.
But my mind is like, I grew up with a father who grew up in Jim Crow South Louisiana, and somehow he escaped the system with all the opportunities that came his way, lived to be 95 years old, worked at Harlan High School, did all these things. And my dad had a very humble spirit. He did not attract all the things that could have happened to him in his 95 years of life. He had a mother who was so kind and gentle and loving to him that he learned very early about wisdom and how not to attract violence and crime. So you end up in that system. That's what I'm trying to say is you end up in that system because you're attracted with your attitude, with your beliefs.
Let me
Your
stop you for a
parents
second. Now hold on.
don't.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you for a second. Now I'm going to tell you about a young man who I call my son. It was a George Floyd done on my son
Mm.
in the front of my family. The cops put their knee in his neck, and in order for him to not die, he bit him. What? He didn't have drugs on him. He was a medical laboratory tech at 17 years old at UIC.
Mm.
They did that to him, and then the OPA or whatever you call them, when we went to contest it, we lost. Now my son, who is lost in the world, but he's a God-fearing young man. He's 50. And every job that he took, they loved him until they ran a record on him and he had a conviction, a violent conviction toward the police that can never be erased. So thank God for your father that he had that life. But systemically, that crap happens to a lot of young black men that don't attract it. That was right before our very eyes.
Okay, do
Can
you
I
know
say something?
Tyrone? Do you know Tyrone?
Listen,
Do you know?
hold on. I'm telling you because you're saying that that the reason things happen to people is because they're attracted for whatever negativity is in their life. And that's not true. And you can't just just cover the cake with some caramel just because it something has happened to this person, and then that's their destiny. We don't know what God has in store for people. And so that incident that happened to my son, he was about to be hired permanently with the UIC as a medical laboratory tech. He was an intern. at 17. And because they did that to him, it is unexpungible. So you can't tell me that because something negative happened to this young man is because he had a negative life. You just
It's
can't
not,
do
it's
that.
not,
You
it's
can't
not,
do that,
it's
Viana.
not
You
that
can't.
I'm not saying he,
But you did
his,
say that.
the
And you
energy,
can't say that.
okay, the
No, no,
energy.
let me ask you a question. Do you know this boy's background? Do you know his parents? Do you know his family? Do you know that that's true as you're saying about this young fellow? Because I don't know about him. But do you know that this is the lifestyle he had? You said he had a knife, as though he brought the knife to the table. And like Brother Marx was saying, it was the sharpener for his cleats. And so you are disparaging this young fellow unnecessarily by saying untruths. So I will follow you if there's something of substance that is usable for me to be a better person. But
Okay,
for you to make but for you to say these things as though your father or your grandfather, because my grandfather was such a lovely man. I was the only granddaughter and grandchild out of 50 that could rub his bald head. Because why? He was a bitter man. He happened to be a sharecropper. And in order to feed his 17 children, the slave master asked him to put a tractor on the back of a truck. And my grandmother told me that's when she saw my grandfather break. And so the system that's controlled by white people, it is not nice. And they're prejudiced, and they live thinking that they're privileged. And those are your white races. They exist. And they want power. That's what white racism is. They want to contain and maintain their power structure. So, yes, I have rainbow family members. My favorite uncle, my only uncle left, is happens to be my uncle-in-law, and his name is Fred Schroeder, and he's a blue-eyed, white, blonde German. And so he loves me beyond anything. And I love him too. So don't be so, I'm not saying what you don't do, but to take it personal when Marcus is only sharing a systemic lifestyle. It's a systemic situation that that goes beyond us as individuals. When we're individuals, and I get along with everybody. I love people. But
Thank you for putting it out
when
there
the
like that.
system is against you unfairly, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about an unfair system. We're not just talking about a white person who's white people in general. We're talking about a system that's controlled by white people that will kick your ass if you black. I done seen too many, but all of these white cops beating black women for what?
If I
And
may, could
then
I
going
say
and then
something?
going and I'm just gonna and then going to court and losing and getting fired. So
Yeah,
that's reality of Viata. It's not just someone who's just bashing on white people. That's just reality.
it really is. It really is. I agree with that.
Can
Marcus,
I?
you were going to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna share a story, a couple of stories, short stories that happened to me. One when I was a teenager, Viatra. I was walking my dog, me and my friend walking our dog. In fact, I had a car, and the gang had this ritual where they sliced our tires. I lived on 72nd and Loomis, and they sliced tires from Ashland to Racine. My car was one of them. Now the police was in front of my house. Me and my friend walking our dogs down the alley, and we could see this police car coming north on Loomis, and it turned into the alley. My dog is a full-grown German Shepherd mixed with a Doberman, so he's not gonna let no anybody grab his leash. So and I wasn't in no gang. I grew up in Inglewood. I didn't even like being from my conversation on here. You can tell I didn't like being in no gangs or none of that. I was considered a nerdy type of kid growing up in Inglewood, right? So we minding our own business. The cops grab us, this white male cop, calls me a nigger, the N, a nigger. He said, "Nigger, I should shoot you in this dog." What saved me was a call over the radio that one of the boys that had sliced the tires on the car was running toward the alley. It was my dog that caught the boy. And I told the white cop, "Ain't you glad you didn't shoot this nigger and his dog? Because now you got your suspect." But did I bring this on myself? No, I didn't bring this on myself. I was a good kid. I wasn't out there gang banging. I wasn't out there selling drugs. I had never been hauled down to the police station. And then right here in the media business, I'm experiencing racism. I do the Bulls game and the Sky game for the Crusader newspaper, and the white photographers making little gestures like, "What are you doing down here? How did you get down here? It must be something they doing wrong in the office." And they wrap it up in a joke. We're not bringing this on themselves. I'm not saying that I hate white people individually. I hate the system that controls, that makes the laws. This system is still Jim Crow. It never grew old. It never went to sleep. And my mother is from an all black town in Mississippi called Mound Bayou. So she taught us about these white people, and she wasn't racist. And the average black person that's growing up in the trenches, they will tell you themselves they're tired of living the way they're living, but they're forced to live this way because the white people, they control the public aid system, they control the social security system, they control the flow of money that comes into our community. They even control our billionaires, all them celebrities that was at Obama thing today, all black celebrities, but they ain't got no power. And what they have shown us in Texas and what they've shown us across this country time after time when they let these racist white cops walk off and taxpayers flip the bill for their racism, they have shown us that we have no power. We can be rich as we want to be. We can be as educated as we want to be with all the master's degrees we want to be. At the end of the day, to the
Now,
white supremacists,
now
we're
you
still a
talking.
nigger.
Now you talking.
We're
Now you,
still a nigger.
So can I respond to that?
yeah.
So there's a guy named Tyrone Muhammad. He lives in Chicago. He's running for Senate. Do you all know him?
I know him well. I've
Okay.
stood on the protest line with him.
He's a great example of what the creator, what the universe will present to someone because there's something in their future that they need to do. Because Tyrone I've interviewed him on my show, and I think he spent 20, 30, I forget how many years he spent in prison. And when he told me he read 3,000 books, I'm like, whoa. I guess that's why you needed to be in vacation Bible school. That's what my friends and I call prison. Because you needed to read 3,000 books. I mean, he was in solitary confinement. I love Tyrone because of his testimony, and what he is now doing in Chicago is what he probably wouldn't be doing if he hadn't read 3,000 books. So my position is this. I've been following Carmelo from the beginning. When that first happened last year, every day I was following that case, figuring out what in the hell's going on. Why is this happening? So in my mind, it's not no cleat sharpener. When you take the force to stab someone in the chest and penetrate the heart, autopsy said there were even burnt bone fragments on the knife. That's a lot of hatred, and all I could see was hatred. And he did never said anything all this time. There was never any word about 4 people attacked me. That's why I don't know where this information is coming from, but somehow it's coming out. So my point is this: the creator, the universe will put you in situations because you need the lesson. Tyrone is a perfect example of that in my life, and in all the people in my life who have gone to prison, who have had horrible things happen to them. It's either, in my mind, a past life situation that they're karmically clearing out today, or there's a lesson you need to learn because you wouldn't be in it if we serve a living creator, a living universe. You wouldn't be in that traumatic
So let me
situation
ask you
if you
this. Let me ask you this question.
to learn. Carmelo has a lesson to learn. His parents have a lesson to learn. Let them learn it because it's going to come whether we like it or
Well,
not.
let me ask you this question. Did I have a lesson to learn by walking a dog down the alley and have a cop who's sworn
Of course
to
you did.
protect me?
Of course
No,
you
no,
did.
no, no, no,
Everything.
no. No,
Yeah, of
no, no,
course
no,
you
no.
did. What else?
You
What are you
supposed
here
to
for?
walk
What are you
your
here for,
dog down
Marcus?
the alley. No, listen to me. Listen
What
to
are
me.
you
Cause
here
I'm
for? Are you
listen to me.
connected to your creator?
Listen to me. Yes, I'm very spiritual person. I'm trying to get you to understand this. Was you're saying to me, this is what's coming through my mind, that I deserve having a police officer to pull a gun on me, and what saved me while you're hearing my voice today was a call. A gun pulled on me by a white cop who felt that I could shoot this black nigga in Inglewood and get away with it no matter how much hell his mother raised. I'ma still get away with it. They still getting away with it today. They're mad because we got cell phone cameras that document it. And let me tell you something about Tyrone Muhammad. Tyrone Muhammad knew how to work politics to get what he want. I'ma just leave it there. Now, I'm trying to get you to understand that I can't get with the creator putting you in this situation. God is looking down on America and he's frowning on America. He's frowning on America. God is not a God of hate, he's a God of love. He hates those that hate for no reason. Black people in this country have been did wrong for no reason, for just existing. So you're saying to me that what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was brought on by the people in Tulsa, Oklahoma? You're saying to me what happened right here in Chicago in 1919, Red Summer, that was brought on by black people? What you're saying is that we're bringing this on ourselves, and this is what we get. Carmelo had every right to defend himself. You try and going up against four boys, whether they're black, Hispanic, or whatever, or four men by yourself. Again, as I said in the beginning, you cannot tell a bear or a lion how to defend themselves. They're going to defend themselves the best way they see fit. White people, a black kid rang the doorbell for help. He got a bullet to his chest. I forget what state it was, but he got a bullet to his chest for ringing the doorbell for help. He got shot by a white man. A black woman delivering packages for Amazon got killed by a white man for delivering packages. Did she bring that on herself? She was at work doing her job.
So,
People have gotten fired because of racism, because white people don't like them, because you got somebody that's racist, and
so
we don't
Marcus,
want to admit, we, we
the
just don't want
Marcus,
to admit
the
that.
fact that you're talking to me right now, walking your dog, and you're still talking to me, your lesson was divine grace and protection, my brother. You're still here. You should be shouting and celebrating the divine grace and protection, not saying,
I
well,
already
that should
did
not
that.
have happened. That should not have happened to me. I don't know why that. No, you should be crying out to the world about divine grace and protection. All of us
Oh,
have had,
oh, get this,
all of us have come close to death. If you live long, I'm 71.
get
I've
this.
come close to death. I have nothing but gratitude at this point in my life. I have seen my children protected. I've seen, so my niece was hit by a car at 14 and died that night. Grace, because her mother taught me about emotional intelligence and so many other things. So out of the fire, have you heard that one? Out of the fire comes grace and love and peace if you are attentive and conscious to the lesson. So we are not, sorry, I'm
We
not
all
victims.
want peace,
We are
but
not
we have to
victims, and
acknowledge
racism is ignorance.
that we have a problem here in this
Yeah,
country, and
well,
we need to
you
deal
have to
with it.
learn. Listen, you got to learn to respond to ignorance because it's everywhere. That's called racism. Ignorance is everywhere. So you're going to keep complaining and shouting and oh, I'm a victim.
But
I'm a victim.
no,
You
you
got to
have the
Viata,
learn to
right
hold
to
on,
defend
respond to
hold on.
yourself,
ignorance.
sister.
Excuse
It's
me, excuse
everywhere.
me, excuse me, excuse me. Okay, Viata, what you're saying is it's almost as though you're saying you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Hmm.
And it's what I'm saying.
Do
Are you
what?
really?
Damned
I
if
but
you do what? I
hold
know,
on.
but
Are
explain to
you?
me
But no,
what
no,
you're
no, no,
talking about.
no.
Do what?
Listen. Okay, now I listen to you. You when I say you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'm not sure if you're really listening to the story. Now, Marcus was able to express his circumstance, and he only shared that with you because you're saying what your outcome is because of something you've done.
Hmm.
Something you've done, and as far as our black youth, if there's something negative that they've done. And so you can stub your toe, and what do you say? Oh, I did something negative. That's why I hurt my foot. And
No,
so
there was a
then to say,
lesson. No, the
but
lesson was
then to
good.
okay, we know. Look, life is lessons, but
Yes.
you get but the way that you're sharing your sentiments is now that Marcus has shared that with him, you're telling him, well, what he should be doing. He should be showing gratitude. Why is it? Why do you think he's not? He's just only expressing a story, but you're taking his story and trying to make it seem like he's complaining and he's complaining about what happened to him rather than having empathy for his circumstance and what he as a young fellow had a traumatic experience that was caused by a white racist cop. So receive that. And the empathy would be there are racist cops and they screw over black men. And I have empathy for you for your circumstance. Not to make it seem like he's crying about it. That's such an insult. And I don't see how you can't see that.
I don't see I because every what I have experienced in my lifetime is if you keep staying gratitude, you will be blessed, protected, and
But you
never
don't know
have to
what this man
experience.
has said. You don't know his level of gratitude.
Well,
You're
I'm
saying,
listening to his voice today,
but
tonight,
you're
and
listening
all
to
he's
his
saying is
voice.
black, white people are
If you're
evil.
listening to no, he didn't say that.
Yes, he
He
did.
did. So now you're taking it out of context, Viata. And
No,
so listen, the show is about to come to an end. And so we can continue talking, but I will not accept your interpretation of this man
Me
speaking.
neither,
And
because
you are criticizing his voice and not listening to his story and having any empathy. So, on that note, this show has really gone over quite a bit,
yes, 8:42.
and let's close out on the fact that we still, some of us, have slave mentalities that we have to overcome. We are living
Hmm.
in a system that even the present administration, they are creating detention centers across the nation to enslave people unnecessarily. So let's see how we can advocate for these CEOs of these penitentiaries who are still the
Hmm.
same systemic way of making money off the black backs of black men. So
Yep.
we will continue this conversation. Thank you all for being a part of this broadcast tonight. And you all have a beautiful Juneteenth celebration. If you do it with a group, if you do it by yourself, and if you do it just in your spirit, then enjoy. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
God
night.
bless. Take
God
care.
bless.
shalom,
Yes.
shalom, shalom.
Shalom.